Hi, it's Tony Daniels, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about quieting ourselves and what that looks like. I wrote a lot about it in my book, Back to Joy, so if you found this through that book, then this will hopefully help you understand a little bit more about that process and what it looks like for me, because I don't go into a lot of detail in the book. But first of all, I want you to know that learning to quiet myself has been a journey and a process and a lot of practice. Um, the brain is a kind of like a muscle, and I think that our relationship skills or our relational skills are very similar to any other physical skills that we learn, even though they don't seem physical. So if I never learned how to swim when I was a child, for example, I'm not just going to have that skill as an adult. I'm going to have to actually learn it. And I discovered that I was not taught to quiet as a child. I'm actually toying with writing a book called Told to Hush but Not Taught to Quiet. I just think that that's so true. And I didn't know the skills, I didn't have the skills. So this was totally new to me, the thought of quieting my emotions, quieting my brain, my thoughts that are constantly going, being able to just calm all of that. So it's been practice, and the skills do develop, and they do come, and that's the hope. And the exciting part is I am not who I was 10 years ago when I started practicing to quiet. I'm a totally different woman, and I'm so thankful for this ability. So the second thing is that it's a very physical process. Dr. Dan Siegel, if you go to his website, just Google deep breathing Dan Siegel or breath awareness Dan Siegel, has an amazing model of the brain and explains everything as to why your brain does what it does and how it kind of loses, you lose your lid, and what you need to do to bring that back. Very good stuff. So it's a very physical thing to calm ourselves and to get ourselves into the part of our brain that remembers who we are. So there's physical ways to do that. And I use those physical ways all the time, almost every day. And the most simple way is just to breathe. So just to remember to take a deep breath. I use that with my children all the time when they get really upset or they're whining or they're crying. The first thing I do is look in their eyes and say, let's breathe. And we breathe together. And at 1.5, my daughter could breathe and could get herself out of a fit just by taking a deep breath. So we don't see that as a skill that we need to practice, but it's very effective. So another thing that I practice physically that works is called Shalom for my body. And I'm going to refer you to go to Dr. Jim Wilder's video on YouTube. Just Google Jim Wilder, W-I-L-D-E-R, Shalom for my body. And he will walk you through 3 physical exercises that you are to do that also calm your body, to help calm your mind, and they bring your relational circuits back on. So let me just take a minute to talk briefly about all of that, because some of you won't go to those sites most likely, but basically our brain has parts of it that are relational, more parts of it that can connect relationally than other parts. So in order to be able to even relate to ourselves well, we need that relational part of our brain on. If you look at it like a circuit, then we need it on, we need it open, we need to be able to have access to that part of our brain. And a lot of times, and this is Dr. Dan Siegel's model of the brain, that relational part's all up here in the front part of our head, and under here in the very back base, in the newer, not the newer, but the oldest part of our brain, is where we get the fight, flight, or freeze reflexes, and we know, we kind of judge things as bad or wrong or scary or good. And so in order for our brains to function relationally, all of that needs to be touching. We need all of that online. But when we get really upset or even slightly upset or tired, for example, it kind of comes, we flip our lid, let's just say. And it's just a great way for kids to understand how this happens. I use it for my children. And then we're not connected to the relational part anymore, and the amygdala, or Amy, is taking over. So we have flow, the frontal lobe, and we have Amy, and this is all Dan Siegel. He's wonderful. And so in our family, we talk about how Amy takes over and we've lost flow and we need to get flow back online. So how do we get flow back online? Well, we do deep breathing exercises. And then we also have these Shalom for my body exercises that turn on our relational circuits, kind of jumpstart the machine again and get flow to come back down so that we can be able to engage with our entire selves in whatever situation we're facing. And also so that we can hear our own feelings and thoughts, but also God. So that's why we want to be relational in the midst of trauma and trial and frustrations, is so that we can sense God's perspective on those things and sense His presence with us, because that's what gives us the resilience and the endurance to be able to overcome those. So I hope you go to Dr. Wilder's page and learn the Shalom for My Body exercises. I do them many times a day, depending on how overwhelmed I feel. My husband and I will do the exercises before date nights. I'll do the exercises before any confrontational meeting that I have to be involved in. And it's become a way of life, even though it seems kind of strange. So there's lots of brain science out there right now proving how tapping and yawning and breathing help us engage with the divine and help us calm ourselves. So I encourage you on this journey that you're adventuring on to quiet and calm yourself so that you can hear God. It is worth it. It's a journey well worth it. So, and you're not alone. So I hope you can find these resources helpful and connect with me on YouTube or on my webpage or on Facebook, on the Back to Joy Facebook page, and let us know how your quieting is going.